everyone! The gong stayed strong, just like today's guest, Frank Noonan.
What a rock star.
Man, that guy is an absolute stud, unit, all the above. Just like, awesome. Excited for this episode, Doug. We made it to episode 16. We are just unbelievably honored to be here, and we thank everybody out there for all the likes, shares, views, subscriptions. Tell your friends about it, and continue to make sure you like and follow on all pages, because I'll tell you, we really appreciate it, and it gives us a chance to tell all these great stories that have just been like flowing around campfires, around the stores for years. We've always thought, what can we do with them? Now we have a place to do something with them, and we really thank you for giving us this opportunity to do so. And Doug, we also have to thank our headline sponsor.
Guys, like the great fans that you are, we have great sponsors, and those at PA Skill Alliance is one of the greatest sponsors, guys. They help not just us get the word out to you, but they also help our friends at fraternal orders, small businesses across the Commonwealth generate revenue that helps to keep the doors open, the lights on, and helps keep our community strong, guys. So big shout out. Make sure you check them out at paskillalliance.org. And remember, guys, it's skill, not luck. Baby.
Woo! Boom. Skill, not luck, baby.
So what's happening this week? I mean, I got some good stuff, but I know that there's a lot of, this week, I do want to say again, when you make me work weekends on call, as you say, you're always like, hey, you don't mind covering the weekend, right, on call? It turns into a house fire with a dumpster and things screaming.
Well, there's two ways to go about it. When I'm on call, nobody quits. But every time you're on call and something happens, we end up getting better because of it. So that's the beautiful thing about being brothers in business, different styles, meshing at different times, but everything kind of gets us to where we got to. So even though it's been a crazy week, we've gotten a lot of good things in place. We got a lot of good people really fired up and inspired, especially at the Leechburg store. And I love the direction of where that store is going, and I love the direction where the company is going. So just like everything, anytime we come up into a spot of adversity in the last 30 years, it's like, at the time and Monday when we did the live, people got to see live what we were doing at the time. We were literally just spitting it the way it was coming out, and we got through it, and we're going to be better and stronger and surrounded by better, stronger people because of it. So everything works out for a reason. But you asked me what's happening, and I'm going to tell you, this week, man, it's been a challenge. And this is just one example, quick personal thing. 6 a.m. That's normally, I'm a pretty regimented person, and I like to get up at 6 a.m., 5:50, 6 a.m. Normally I set my alarm for 6, but I usually get up like 5:45 naturally, and I just kind of lay there for a little bit. Got up at 6, let the dogs out like normal. 6 a.m., it's dark out, and it was raining. It was pouring. It was that morning that it was pouring outside. It was pouring.
Wait, I picked you up? And you're like struggling like an old man?
No, that was actually another day. It was a rougher week than I thought. But no, it was another day. Oh, geez, what kind of week? What are we? What's happening? 6 a.m., it's pouring outside. I take the dogs out. I've got 2 little dogs, like we talked about before, little Chihuahua Jack Russells. They go flying outside. Why I take them outside, I don't know, because they just go out and they act like they're doing whatever, and then they come in and they pee all over the place. But anyways, we went through the pony show of them going outside and doing their thing. So I'm walking outside with them, and it's pouring out. And all of a sudden, whoom, just like Joe Pesci in freaking Home Alone, man. Heels are up. Head is back. The only good thing is I didn't crack my skull. But I literally, it was like Joe Pesci on Home Alone for your Home Alone fans. I land on my back, and I'm like, oh, literally, I'm making that noise. I know I was making that noise. And I was laying there so long that the 2 dogs go out, and Miga always acts like she's going to go. She's the sister, and Diego's the brother. She acts like she's going to go. She just her little fake thing, I'm sure. But she just kind of stayed there. Diego, I was laying there long enough for Diego to go out, do his thing, come back in. He literally jumped, used my chest as a freaking platform, jumped off off my chest into the house, and he's barking at me for his treat. I look at him, I'm laying on my back. I'm like, who are you? Who are you? Like, what are you doing right now? I mean, he's barking at me like, what are you doing? I just let your dumb out at 6 a.m. I have things to do, and now you're jumping over me, barking at me for a treat. What I do like any good dog owner, I listened to him. I got up. I went in and gave him a treat. But that's how it started out. So that's been the week, folks. To sum it up, that's pretty much sums it up. I mean, that pretty much sums it up. So that's my week. How about you, Doug?
Well, as usual, mine's not as funny, but I just imagine you there like this, like an.
Oh, no. I was making the noises, man. I was like, oh.
Hey, and then the only break in that is the dog jumping on your chest, like,
oh, yeah. That's exactly what happened.
oh my God, it's amazing.
I mean, you hit her on the head. And then the miraculous thing is my hip still hurts. It's like I'm 90 years old. My hip still hurts. It still freaking hurts so bad. And I said last night, I said, Brand, I said, I need you to look at my butt. Now, hey, sometimes that's like a subtle hint. But in this case, it was an actual, man, I think I might have a serious situation here. And she looked, there's no bruise. There's no redness, nothing. But it feels like somebody took a sledgehammer to this one spot in the back of my hip. Yeah.
You guys have some weird mating rituals.
Yeah, I mean, this was like, I was afraid of what she was going to say. I was afraid she was going to say there's like a 10-pound cyst hanging off of it. I mean, I'm serious. Like, it all stemmed from these dogs. We know what we do for the dogs. Everybody knows what you do for your dogs. You love your dogs. Like, the funny thing is I'm laying there almost dead, and I'm just worried, did they go? Yeah. Anyways, hey, that's what's happening this week.
I had I had a very come to like realization moment in the store. So we were fixing some issues. Shout out to our girls at Leechburg. Great work this week. Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys leaning in, and my wife Lindsay for waking up at 5 this morning and helping us get some stuff done. But so I was there yesterday all day, and I'm like, you know what? I haven't played the new skill game release yet because there's a new like games like Atlantis, and I wanted to hit the bonus game. Right? I'm a bad skill game player. I just want to hit the bonus game. So I will play like the basically Simon Says afterwards, but I wanted to see the bonus game. So I'm there playing, and all of a sudden, like I hit the next, which tells you that if you win or not. Like how you can in skill games you can see if you're gonna win or not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Skill not luck, right? So I'm gonna hit the bonus game, but I'm out of credits. So I pull out this dollar bill. Like this dollar bill. It was down there when they found the Ark of the Covenant in Indiana Jones. I mean, there was like, I think it was taped together. It was the only dollar bill I had left though, right?
It's always the last one.
And it was crinkled. It was missing a corner. And I'm like, maybe it'll work. And meanwhile, I'm the same guy that would yell at a customer like, dude, don't put that in there. You're going to jam the machine. And so I'm there and I put it in and all of a sudden, never fails. I'm like, oh. And it turns purple. It jams. And I can see that I'd played the bonus game next. So it jams the machine. And I'm like, I got to call the guy. He's going to come unclog it. So then I just kind of write it off, right? So today I'm back there with Lindsay. And all of a sudden the guy that comes in all-time great customer, skill game player, he's like, oh, you did that? And I'm like, yeah, it was me. He's like, why would you put that in there? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know why I'd put that in there. And he's like, I wouldn't have put that in there. I'm like, I get it. I don't know why I put it in there. And he's like, well, do you have any tweezers? I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you got any tweezers? I'm thinking, for what? And he's like, oh, I can get it out. I'm like, no, you can't. He's like, no, I can get it out. Like, this happens to me every once in a while. When I put bad bills in the machine, like an amateur, I can help you. So I go to the office and I get tweezers, and he is like a dentist, like a dentist drilling a tooth. He like gets in there and he's like, more light, please. And he gets in there and he's pulling out a little piece and it rips. He's like, ooh, I ripped a piece. So he moves over to the other side. This goes on for like 3 minutes, and it's like the most stressful watching of a guy with tweezers trying to pull money out of a machine. But he gets it. He pulls it out. And he's like, hey, here you go. And he's like, still mocking me for this dollar bill.
Yeah, he's probably like, is this real?
Right, yeah. And so then Lindsay's like, why'd you put that in there? She bust my chops. So then I put a $5 bill in there, played the bonus game, it hits, it was great, and I gave the guy the money.
First question is, was it John? Camo hat, mustache.
Yes!
Red mustache.
Yes.
Shout out, John, if you're watching. He's a great customer, great guy. And he's got a good sense of humor. So
Sorry, John, for ruining your
I could see him say
machine.
that. I could see him
Amateur.
saying that. No, he's on it. He's a great customer. That's amazing. And the second thing is, I mean, come on. Well, you're lucky. I thought you were going to say that the end of the story was the lurker situation. You had this bonus coming. You left. They come and fixed it, and somebody swooped in and won like $5,000.
That really upset me.
I honestly was thinking, man, that could be where this thing is rolling. But
No.
that's about right. Hey, it's sometimes you're down to that last dollar.
You know what? I was trying that time to I'm thinking because it was me being the penny pincher. I had a $5 bill and I had a $1 bill. I'm like, I don't feel like doing this whole TRT shenanigans. I'm just gonna put the $1 bill in there. It'll work.
It's just a funny thing for you. You're such a stickler for rules, and then you're just like, wait, we're just gonna maybe it must have been the inside, like the interior, like rebel coming out. You're like, you know what? This is my time.
We're gonna send it.
This bill's going in there, baby. That's right. I did that.
Well, Ryan, it actually plays right into the first segment of the week. It's Ryan's retail stereotype of the week.
The produce interrogator. We've all seen it. The specialist, the customer that's also the produce specialist, comes in. I always like it because they're the person that they ask the question knowing the answer. Like they'll come up to me, they'll be like, "Hey, how can you tell if the watermelon's ripe enough? How can you tell if it's good?" And then I'll give some crazy answer, and I mean not crazy answer. Like I'll give some answers I've heard, oh, you knock and all this stuff. And then they know the answer. Oh well, I retired. I had 35 years, Giant Eagle. I was a produce specialist, produce supervisor, and this is how you tell. Like sandbagger, can you suggest, oh, you're the owner, right? Can you suggest the avocado to that I should get here? And oh yeah, when are you planning on using it? Today, tomorrow? Today, probably today. Get it? Here you go. Oh man, I mean that's good. That's good. But this is the one. This is probably the one. It's got a little bit of give to it. It's probably the one. Like it's the person that asked the question, knowing the answer. They just want to show how smart they are. It's like the produce interrogator that they're out there. You got some 15-year-old that just got out of social studies class, filling the produce in the afternoon, and they're out there grilling them like just like Frank Noonan style. They get the light on this guy, grilling this poor 15-year-old kid, testing our training. And then they come to us and say, I went up there. I don't think he really has a sense of what's happening. I think he needs a little more training. Like, you're a specialist now. You're a produce specialist. Like that's what you're thinking. Again, like we talked about in the previous episode, the scroll says one answer. Oh well, thanks for the feedback. I appreciate that. We'll go over it with them. We'll make sure.
And to the same point, do you ever catch yourself the watermelon people? Like during watermelon season, I love when they buy it at the end of watermelon season and they return it 4 times.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was not the right color, it wasn't juicy enough. Like all these very broad descriptions. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, this is your 4th time returning your watermelon.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah. I'm like, maybe stop buying watermelons because you're not going to be happy.
Yeah, or they buy strawberries at one of those weird times of the year where they're like $8.99. And you can't find them anywhere. They buy them, they take them home, they sit them in their fridge for 4 days. Then they come in and say, "Oh, these aren't quite what I'm used to."
Do you think though it's kind of like the people that get married 7 times? They're like, you know what? I still think it's them. No, it's not the watermelon's fault.
Yeah.
It's your fault. Stop buying watermelons.
Yes. So there we go. The produce interrogator. We've all seen them. Don't be that guy or girl.
Well, speaking of great interrogators, I want to introduce our guest this week, guys. We're about to have our guy, Frank Noonan, on. FBI agent, Bronze Star winner, veteran of the Marines, AG head guy for a while as far as working for the AG's office, commissioner of the state police. I mean, that guy's like repertoire and career is longer than most people's feed. Like, it's insane. He's up next.
Remember the thrill of your first childhood game, maybe tic-tac-toe? Genuine Pennsylvania Skill Games recaptures that excitement, offering easy-to-play, win-every-time experiences at your favorite local spots. Imagine a game where a little skill consistently turns credits into cash prizes. A game you can enjoy with others and even help them win. No need to just imagine. Genuine Pennsylvania Skill Games, championed by the PA Skill Alliance, are real. Go to paskillalliance.org for more information.
Today on Checked Out Retail Stories, guys, we're sitting with our former PA State Police Commissioner, Marine Corps veteran, FBI veteran, Frank Noonan. Frank now leads a national compliance for Pace and Mag, fighting to protect the genuine Pennsylvania skill games that keep independent retailers and local clubs afloat. Welcome to the show.
Hey, it's great to be here, guys.
So Frank, I mean, you have a very storied history. Let's start. So, when you signed up for the military, were you drafted or did you enlist?
No, I was a volunteer. I had always wanted to be a Marine. My father was the captain in World War II. He was captured by the Germans in North Africa. I spent 3 years as a prisoner of war. All of my uncles served in World War II. I always had that was going to be an amazing thing. And my father was in the Army. So I said, well, I'll do better. I'm going to do the Marine Corps. So that's what I did.
So again, I was looking through. I mean, thank you for your service. Obviously, a Bronze Star recipient. A proud American. Thank you for your service. So when you got out of the military, what was your first step? Were you in there for the 4-6 years? How long were you in there for?
No, I was in for 3 years. After they were drawing down, Nixon at the time was drawing down. But the enlistment was for 3 years, and I had always wanted to be a Marine Corps officer and an FBI agent. And at the time, they had the bombing in Wisconsin. That was a big deal, and they hired 1,000 new agents. So my timing was very good, and so I was only out of the Marine Corps for a week before I entered the FBI.
How was the training process there? I mean, was it similar to the military, going into there, or is it a different kind of process?
No, it's very different. It was intense. It was 3 months. The Marine Corps is very physical, very regimented. The FBI, there was a lot more studying, and but you were a civilian, so on the weekends you can go out. Nobody was yelling at you. So I always tell people, you don't bother yelling at me. I've been yelled at by experts. The Marine Corps was really good at that.
So you got in, and it's funny when I think of FBI. I know it's a little off subject, but I think of like the X-Files and Aliens back in the early '90s show.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, that's probably one of your guys' largest, communicator to the audience about, hey, join us now. You might be able to join the X-Files.
Well, it's funny because when I was in the FBI, I would go around, I would do talks and things, and they would always be a question: are the X-Files real? And I would look at them. I said, no, that's a TV show. And then they always would come back and say, you have to say that. Yes. But there are a lot of people that believe in all kinds of things, and they're attracted to the FBI. Like they want to go and talk to the FBI and bring them in. So you always, but I never saw anything that made it sound real, to tell you the truth.
That's interesting. That actually clears up a lot for me. Thank you. It makes me sleep a little better, actually. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So being in the FBI, so where were you stationed in D.C. or were you on a remote? Like where did you spend most of your career?
Well, I spent the first 3 months in D.C. because that's where the training was. Then I got sent to Milwaukee for a year. Then I was sent to Iowa. I was there for 10 years. And then I came to Scranton and was there for 16, 17 years. So a lot of times. And I'm a Pennsylvania boy, so I was happy to get close back to home.
That's interesting, Frank. I got to go back, though, real quick, if you don't mind. I got to go back to your dad. So that's wild. I mean, our grandfather served in World War II. He's in the 101st Airborne. We're really proud of his service. 2 Purple Hearts and a Battle Star and a Battle of the Bulge. But to get taken by the Germans, you know, and then to survive, I mean, let's face it. We're not talking about Germans like you see now at Oktoberfest dancing around drinking beer. You know, we're talking about some crazy, you know what, Germans, that the craziest of all the crazies, you know, surviving their camp for 3 years. I feel like we just went past that.
It was not easy, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, where was he stationed?
If you're interested,
yeah, I'm interested. Yeah,
some of the stuff that he told me, like he was captured in North Africa, which was at the beginning of America's war. He was wounded a couple. He had 2 or 3 Purple Hearts. He was about 220, 230 all the time I knew him. When he got out of the prisoner of war camp, he was 97 pounds.
Oh my.
He said that in the bread that they were given, there was 10% sawdust, and that they were all so malnourished that the doctors that were in the camp told them not to get out of bed, to just lie there as much as they could, because there weren't enough calories to survive.
That's insane.
It was certainly had a lot of effects on him. People don't realize the sacrifices that our fathers and grandfathers made during that war, and but it was something.
I mean, 3 years that's a long time to be in captivity.
Right.
Do you know, like, where did they have him? Did they take him back to Germany? Was he in North Africa?
Well, first he was in Africa. Then they, as the Allies started moving, they moved him back to Italy. And then as Italy got invaded, they moved him back into Germany, deeper into Germany. And then he was actually liberated twice. And then the Germans would come back and recapture him. So the third time was the charm.
Wow, you know, you talk about mental strength. I mean, you know, to go over there, to be in battle, to get injured in battle, to, you know, survive camp, then to get liberated and have the feeling of, oh, I'm saved, and then to get taken back again and then have to go. I mean, that is, you talk about mental fortitude.
It is. He basically, they were so numb by that time. Like, you know, and so weak. You know, another funny, not funny, but interesting story. The Red Cross came in, and when they were eventually liberated, and they were giving everybody donuts, and they warned them, just eat one, because they were so hungry. Some guys overate and died from. That's what he always said. He said they couldn't stop, and then it didn't work out. You know. It was a lot.
That's a lot. That's good. And for the record, what was your dad's full name, just so the audience can keep him in mind?
Francis J. Noonan Sr.
There we go.
Jr.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah. Well, here, hats off, salute to that man for his service. That's a story right there, man. That's a story. Yeah.
So Frank, so then you get out of the FBI, and then is that when you started your business, or then you went for the state police?
I went to the Attorney General's office, and I ran a drug unit for 10 years, and then was the head of the agents. And I probably wouldn't have left the FBI, but I had 3 kids in college at the same time, and I could retire from the FBI. I'll tell you what. I remember laying on my bed thinking, how the heck am I ever going to do this? Because we had 5 kids. We got them all through college, but it was easy. But going to the AG and having my FBI retirement was a godsend.
Well, no offense, Frank. I mean, obviously, Vietnam, I'm sure, wasn't a walk in the park. But at the same time, having 3 kids in college at the same time had to test you as a man as much as that did.
The only thing I always wondered is like, I must be a financial genius because when I added it up, it didn't work. But we made it through.
Yeah.
We refinanced the house several times.
Yeah. That's something to be proud of for sure.
Oh yeah, well yeah. I got 5 kids and they all graduated, and I'm very proud of all of them.
Do they continue the military service, or did they go a different path?
One of my daughters is in the FBI.
Oh, very cool.
My son asked me. That's the one I thought. Hey, I would say the military because I love the military. I think it's a great thing. He said, "Dad, why would I want a job where people shoot at me?"
Fair question.
I said, "That's a good question." So no, he's a teacher, and he does real well with that.
So you're in the AG's, the Attorney General's office. So, yeah, I mean, were you doing like drug busts? Like, were you like undercover?
Yes.
What?
When I was in the FBI, I did some gambling undercover cases. But when I was in the state, when I was with the AG, I was in charge of the unit. So the agents that were working for me were doing all the undercover stuff. And as a matter of fact, they didn't like it when I would be with them around their sources and stuff because they said I looked like the anti-drug user. I just did not fit in,
All I can think of is Donnie Brasco, the movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Nice guy. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, you knew him.
I met him. I wouldn't say I know him.
Oh, wow.
I met him. Yeah, he had a book and everything came around, and that's an amazing case and actually a very good movie.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
Did you ever have any close calls, Frank, that you can speak of today? Did you ever have a situation where, like, you're in the room with the guy and all of a sudden they call you out and you have to, like, open the shirt and anything like that?
There are several close calls. And if you want to hear, I'll tell you.
Yeah, give us your closest call, sweatiest
It would be in the
call.
Marine Corps, because when I was in Vietnam, and when I was a forward observer, so I was with the infantry company, and we're going out, and we're getting shot at all the time, and people are getting killed and stuff like that. So I go, but I get back to the battery after 7 months, and things are a little calmer. And my mother sent me a care package, and it had a can of chicken, which you wouldn't even open now. It'd be disgusting. At that time, I thought this was great. So I'm standing up in my little hooch, the little place we live, me and the executive officer. I'm opening up. I get it opened. I sit down. A rocket hits 20 feet from us. It goes through, the shrapnel goes through where I was standing. It might have missed me, but it would have been close. Like through the 2x4s so quickly, it's just impossible to understand. It's like through the 2x4s before you even notice what happened. And that the power of that. And so when I left, I always tell people, I don't care how careful you are, how much training you have. There's a lot of just when your time's up, it's up, and when it's not, thank God it's not. And that was my closest. Wow. I have arrested several murderers and things like that, and guys, and they had guns, but they all gave up. And one of the great things about the FBI in the way they do things, we're not like the police where we run off on situations unexpectedly. We don't know what's happening, who's doing what. We usually plan. So we have overwhelming force when we would go in and hit the doors, and then they would think, but then they would say, there's no chance. So that would happen.
So Frank, do you still eat canned chicken or no?
I haven't had canned chicken ever since I left there. It's funny too. When I got back, I was telling my wife, we were only married about a year and a half. I said, those sea rations that they gave us, they weren't bad. They were pretty good. So I got a couple of them and brought them back, and we had them. They were disgusting. They were just awful. And I say, well, that's all you got to eat. Yeah, not too bad,
No, I mean, when you're looking forward to canned chicken, you know that the current situation isn't optimum.
I know. Yeah, it was bad.
So then so then when did you join? So did you start your company before or after when you helped the state police commissioner, when you were state police commissioner?
When I was state police commissioner after 4 years, which was a great experience and a great honor. Some friends of mine and I, we were all sort of retiring at the same time. And one of them had an idea for starting an investigative group to work with lawyers, law firms. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it. And then they told me, yeah, well, we want to call it the Noonan Group. I said, well, then I guess I'm in. So we did that. And we're not, most of us don't want to work full time. We'll take, and I don't do much of the actual investigations at all anymore. I do more supervisory. And then we started that, and through that met Paysomatic people and did work with them, and they're great guys. I really gotten close with them, and then they asked me to be on their board of directors, and so that's what I do, and I spend a lot of my time with that now.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the skill game. I mean, what was your first exposure to genuine skill games, and obviously now with the market the way it is, and us looking to get some regulation passed, what was the first experience you had with skill games?
Well, actually, although I was head of the state police and we were doing skill game investigations, it never really got to my level. They were doing it. So I went down to meet with the staff of Paysomatic while I was the head of the Noonan Group. And I got, my knowledge of it was joker, poker, that kind of stuff that been going on for a long time. And I had done gambling cases in Pennsylvania, but it was bookies and things like that. So I was I went in there with a little skepticism, like, well, what kind of people are these? But they explained it to me, and Paul Goldine, who's the president, Mike Pace, are the best people you could ever meet, and they only want to do something that's going to be legal and be fair to everybody. That was their key, and I thought, I have lawyers in my group, but and they have lawyers, but they convinced me that this is a really worthwhile, good thing that helps people that are trying to run small businesses. I get tired of the big companies that want to screw over they don't want anybody anywhere else to make a dollar. That's just it. And it's just not fair. But and I got to travel out to Wyoming, Kentucky, Virginia, DC, bunch of places Texas, where we have other games. And everywhere we go, we try to do it the right way. We talk to law enforcement. We talk to the district attorneys, tell them what our thing is. We go to court. We're not hiding anything. I don't know if you guys were around long enough, but it used to be a lot of business would have a back room where you had like to knock a couple times and you had to be known.
The old laundromats.
They would have the joker poker and stuff like that. We're out in the open. And as you know, the work that they do, like for helping out fire departments and daycare centers and businesses. I mean, it's just the charitable work has been really amazing. And I know Mealy Manufacturing and Lou, they do a lot with charity also. So it makes you feel good. I'm really proud to be part of Paysomatic. They're great people and they're trying to do the right things. However, there are people that want to shut us down because they don't want to share a dollar, and they're making billions with betting on your phones and things like that, but they don't want anybody else.
Yeah, actually in Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania, I heard, is one of the largest gambling, states outside of Nevada. And, especially with the online gambling, and then
I heard that we're #1 in online gambling.
Oh, wow.
that's my point. Yeah. So it's grown dramatically. And the
And have
access.
you guys ever noticed how many kids are doing this stuff? Their parents set them up with an accounts. I know a lot of kids and stuff like that. I mean, it's a shame. I mean, that if you're in high school and you're starting to bet, I hope you don't win, because I know that was my experience when I was in college. I played a little poker. I'm not good at it. I lost, and I didn't have the money to lose. And I thought, well, I'm not doing that anymore. If you won, it would have been a problem.
Yeah, easy money's hard.
It is, and I don't know how they stop it. I'm not sure that they want to.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully with it looks like at least they're talking about it now as far as regulating it. There's obviously some crazy bills out there, but Senator Yaw has a nice bill that makes it fair for everybody. It's just a shame that in Pennsylvania, for some reason, sometimes when people see a new industry, they get nervous when they should lean in, because Pennsylvania, there's a lot of great things, but there's also a lot of challenges. And anytime you can increase your tax base, I mean, just do it the right way.
You would think that would be a positive. And one of the really differences with Pennsylvania is it's so diverse. Like it's just like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, completely different than most of the rest of the state. So these, when you see skill games, as you guys are very familiar with, you see them at American Legions, you see them at VFWs, you see them at fire departments, in small rural areas, and where you don't have a lot of other games or anything like that going on. So, I hope that they work it out, but you never know.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned before, and it's great what you do, is obviously the self-regulating and making sure that we don't turn pace and obviously Pennsylvania Genuine Skill Games don't turn into these parlors. I mean you only see a max of 5 or 6, and it's done the right way. And I think that's a big kudos to your company and to Pace and what they do.
Yeah, and it's a constant struggle. We have 185 operators, and 99% of them are great guys. But every once in a while, somebody will try to make a few extra bucks and put some of their machines in with these parlors, and that's why we have to check on them and make sure that doesn't happen, because our reputation is really something that's very precious to us.
Oh no, we're proud to be associated and proud to have you guys in our stores. It's been a big opportunity for growth, and like we talked about before, it helps pay our health insurance, and we're hoping that with enough knowledge out there for the general populace, they'll vote and get people in there that want to make it better and want to make it an opportunity for generations to come.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, thank you, Frank, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. Do we miss anything you want to talk about?
I just wanted to tell you one story if you have time.
Of course.
Oh man, absolutely.
Well, it's different, but it's a different story, but it had a big impact on my life. So after I got out of Vietnam, I go to Camp Lejeune, and I'm running advanced infantry training, and I'm getting out now, maybe about 3 months. I know I'm probably going to go into the FBI, but you got like 100, 150 troops under you. You're training in advanced infantry. And on a Thursday, we get a guy that's a deserter that they bring him back to our unit, put him in the unit. And in the Marine Corps in those days, they got him wrapped in chains like he's the Hulk. And he's like 6'3", and he's got a look on his face, guys, like, I want to kill everybody.
Oh,
I
wow.
just want to kill. And it was like, everybody in the unit, it's 100 and 150 Marines. They're going, whoa. So they take the chains off, and said they told me to keep an eye on him. I don't know. So we, on the weekends, on Sunday afternoon, you can't leave 150 Marines, 19 to 22-year-olds without supervision, without something to do. You can't do it. So we would rotate, and this was my Sunday. So I come in and march them down to the athletic fields, and I split up the platoon or the company half playing soccer, half playing flag football. And I said, and you have the troops that you're supervising. They provide their own. They have their own acting sergeant, acting corporals, and stuff like that. And that's how you maintain control. And I tell them, now listen, I don't care. I said, just have fun. But I want everybody to participate. Don't let anybody just hang on the sidelines. I want everybody getting in and out, because the whole point is to try to have a fun activity that gets people to sort of get that Marine Corps bond. So I'm not paying attention. I'm thinking about how soon can I get out of here, And they come marching up with the 6'3", looks like he wants to kill everybody guy. They got 3-4 guys around him. And they said, Lieutenant, he won't play. Now, you have to understand, I could care less whether they play or not. It's just, but I've told them to do it. It's an order. I can't go back on it now that there's all these guys. No. So I'm looking at him. I said, I'm looking at the kid, and I said, what the heck? If I write him up for disobeying an order, he goes back to the brig. And the brig in the Marine Corps, which he had just got out of 50 years ago, was a horrible place to be. I'm telling you, it's nothing like a regular prison. I had to go visit people there. For playing football? God's sakes. So I sent the other guys away to talk to him privately. I said, listen, you're going to go back to the brig. I said, if I have to write you up for disobeying a direct order, I said, what's going on? And he's looking away from everybody. He's looking at me. All of a sudden, I see tears in his eyes. He says, I don't know any of these guys. And when I looked at him, I realized he was 17 years old, never been away from home, and didn't know how to make friends or be around people. And I thought, this is not a killer.
Yeah.
He looks like a killer,
Yeah.
but he's not a killer. And I said, listen, here's the thing. None of these guys knew each other when they got here. You just got here late. Just go in there, play a couple plays, and we'll see what happens. And, it'll be fine. And he said, okay. So he goes back in there, and you could not make it up. So they put him on the defensive line. He makes 3 tackles for a loss. Nobody could stop him. Everybody's patting him on the back. We never had a problem with him after that. He graduated, and the one thing I wanted to tell that story for is that, I've talked to the state police guys when I was with their training. You don't know what people are going through, and you don't know what their story is. You don't want to make assumptions, especially when you're in a position of authority. You want to be able to give them a chance. And I really believe that one stupid football incident changed his life. And I kept that in my mind throughout the rest of my jobs.
That's amazing. I mean, that's just great leadership, and I'm so glad you told that story, because anybody out there hears that story when they're in that spot. Because let's face it, that's a high pressure spot for you. Everybody's looking to you. Everybody's saying, "Okay, is this guy gonna hold to it?" There's a lot on the line for everybody, and the fact that you showed the compassion, understood I'm sure it gave you a lot. I mean, you obviously already had the respect to your troops, but it gave you the respect to your troops. It was also, if you've seen the movie, I'm sure you have, The Blind Side. It was a blindside moment.
Yes. Yeah. It was very much like that, and I'm thinking, because a lot of times in my career, you're meeting people that are under a lot of stress. They have a lot going on. Maybe they've committed crimes. But a lot of people can change their lives. A lot of people live good lives after they go to jail and come back, and some don't. Some never will. There are some really bad people in this world, and they need to be locked up. I have no problems with that. But for people that, I don't want to be the one that pushes them over the edge and creates something bad in their life, and that's always stuck with me. So that's why I wanted to share it.
That's great. Well, Frank, I got one more story to ask of you. Our producer just threw a football at me, and she asked about the is that the cocktail party story?
I don't know.
No. She said there was some kind of cocktail party story.
Oh, she asked me for a cocktail party story, but
Oh, that's
no,
a
there was
story.
oh well, just because you guys are in retail, let me tell you this. I have arrested. I arrested lots of people, but one common thread is when you'll find people that embezzled money from the Little League, embezzled money from the fire department, the bank, or anything else. It's the best employee, the employee that never takes a vacation, that everybody counts on and wants to help and never wants help with their work because they can't leave. If anybody ever looked at the books, they're going. And I would just suggest that if you have one person that's doing your books, that you take a look yourself. And just so that they know, because when you don't check, people that get in financial difficulties, it's so easy. And in their mind, they're always, I'm going to pay it back. Then it gets up to $100 grand and you're not paying it back.
No, not that kind of money.
Yeah, not that kind of money. But everybody always says, I can't believe it. She's the best. She's the one.
No, I'm so glad you told that story, Frank, because it's perfectly timed. This week we just went over that, the importance of us like making sure that we're free to make sure that everybody's doing their job, to verify what everybody's doing.
It's not that you don't trust people, but if there's no supervision, it's just such a temptation for really basically good people to get in a jam, And it was funny because at some of the banks, they would always count out the top drawer, but not the second drawer where the real money is. And when they would get caught, you would find little IOU slips in the second drawer from the people stealing the money.
Wow.
And so I mean, maybe 100 times. I mean, it's just, and it's always so tragic because they don't think of themselves as criminals, and nobody thinks of them as criminals. And I got one more funny story if you want it.
Hey,
okay. We're here.
Yeah,
funny.
You got us.
We'll take it.
I'm a new agent and the FBI out in Iowa, and I'm doing a background check, which I don't like to do because they're boring. Have you ever done anything against the government? Would you want to look into overthrow? It's ridiculous. You go by their character and stuff like that. And this one guy was the president of the bank, and he was a reference for one of the applicants for a job. So I go up there. It's a long drive, and I tell the secretary I want to talk to him. With the FBI. And he sends her back out and says, "Can I have a witness?" I said, "What?" I said, "No, he doesn't need a witness as far as I know. He's got a couple questions." Well, I went in there and started talking to him. It turned out he'd been embezzling a couple $100 grand from the bank. He had a girlfriend she had a second family like he was supporting and all this other stuff. I had no idea. He just couldn't take it anymore and just blurted it out.
Wow. What?
Yeah. No, you never know.
Oh,
but people that don't think of themselves as criminals, that's a heavy load that they're carrying, that they've done these things, and it's that's why I already tell people one family is plenty for anybody.
Yeah.
It's just keep your money and your keep everything on the straight and narrow. It's an easier path.
Oh, 100%.
Much easier.
Yeah, earlier I was thinking, wasn't it Ronald Reagan said trust but verify?
Trust but verify.
Trust but verify. It is the truth. And like I was just, not that you don't trust people, but if there's no supervision when they get in a tough spot, it's just so easy, and then you've got a record. It's hard to get another job, after that, and be not for anything that's going to be trusted, so it's a tragedy on every level. But I've seen it so many times, and I used to call it the crying teller crimes. You go in and she's crying. I didn't mean to do it. I was just, I was counting all these thousands of dollars, and there you go.
Well, it backs up what our experience is, because I never really thought about this until I just heard it from you. Obviously as an expert, it backs it up. But in all 3 times that I can remember where we had like big theft, we're talking, 10,000 plus theft from one person. And, since obviously we've corrected the actions to make sure that can't happen again. But in all 3 times, it was the person that every time you called, oh no, don't worry, we got this taken care of. We got it taken care of. Just go enjoy yourself. Like, no, you don't need to come in. I'll cover. I got it. I'll do a double. It was always that person that did it. So
Yes,
I mean,
who it is.
It verified. I mean, just kind of like when you said that, it instantly hit my head that all 3 of those instances, those people were that person.
You guys are dark. I'm going to stop trusting people.
I might need to call you again, Frank. Now that you've opened my mind, there might be some more questions I have down the road.
Well, it's funny. I have some friends in law enforcement, and I am an optimistic person, and everything. And they used to say to me, Colonel, you keep saying people are good. How can you say that after all the people that you say? I said, go to an amusement park and look at the families pushing around kids that are disabled and taking them places and doing everything for them and everything like that. Most people are good. Sometimes they get in a bad spot. They're just pressure, and they make mistakes. There are other people that are criminals that are just that's who they need to be in jail. But it is it's just something you just want to think. You don't want to get jaded by saying, yeah, well, this guy did that, this, and I could tell you some stories, guys, but it wouldn't be on the air. It's really brutal stuff.
I'll bet.
But for most people, they're great people. They're good people. Sometimes they make mistakes. And this drug stuff, I tell you what, it's if you do have kids, you want to watch them. Thank God all of mine are grown up now and they're doing great. But it just keeps getting more and more. There's just more and more opportunities, and it really drives me crazy when people like make light of it. Because some people will do drugs and they'll be okay, and others, that's going to be it for them. That's going to be it. And I've seen so many parents, wives, husbands, children whose lives are just terribly affected by it. It is, and I'll leave you with one more little thought. When they went for marijuana, medical marijuana, governor called me. Hey, we're Governor Corbin and we're friends. Tell Frank not to go crazy, but I have to go with this medical marijuana stuff. And you knew that was going to open the door when they're giving it for depression, back pain, stuff, anything, there's so much of that around. And now they found out from studies, which anybody should have known, that it's really bad for adolescents. It can really stop all the growth that you would want them to have, and all they get it to do nothing. You got Johnny in the basement till he's 35 years old, and I've known guys like that.
Well, we grew up in that spot. It's crazy. I mean, it was just crazy. Yeah. And it was to your point. To your point, we kind of lived it the way we grew up and when the timing of everything. All of a sudden, it went from being don't ever smoke pot, don't ever do dope. It's the gateway drug. It's the gateway to evil. It went from all of a sudden it went from that to just like, oh well, this is okay for these things.
It's okay.
It was like
that bad.
It was like overnight. It was like I turned off the TV the night before, and it was like this is the gateway drug. It will lead to vampires and witches, and then I woke up the next morning. It's like, well, if you have these 25 conditions, it's going to be great.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, that was my 2 cents. All right. Hey, you guys are great. I've really enjoyed it.
You gave us way more than 2 cents.
Yeah, thank you
very
so much, Frank. Thank you.
PA Skill players seek genuine PA Skill games. How can you tell the real from the imitation? The PA Skill Alliance offers a 4-step identification process to help you find genuine PA Skill games. 1. Check for logos. Does the machine display official Pennsylvania Skill Game logos? 2. Look for Powered by Pacematic. Is it Powered by Pacematic visible on the game's casing? 3. Assess business reputation. Is the game a reputable business? Genuine PA Skill games were not intended to be standalone businesses. 4. Examine game style. Is it a tic-tac-toe style game that offers the option to win every time? Help combat fraudulent skill games by exclusively playing genuine PA Skill Alliance supported games. Discover more at paskillalliance.org.
We're back, guys. Thank Frank so much. That was amazing. I learned so much. Don't trust a nice person, right?
Old Ronald, we said it, Ronald Reagan, trust but verify. And Frank just backed that up.
Hold them accountable.
And honestly, like that's what we're really striving for in our organization. We're really trying every day to get it so that we have the best possible people in charge of every single aspect, every single nook and cranny of the business. And then our job is to oversee it, make sure that the operation is good, and make sure that everybody knows that, you know, somebody's watching. There's somebody to be accountable for, even ourselves. We both have each other to be accountable for. So there's accountability, like Frank said, you know, for the most part, everybody's good people. The people we have working for us are all good people. But, you know, it's important to have the checks and balances and the accountability just to actually for everybody's own protection, as he pointed out, for their own protection, because, you know, if people are left on their own and they get into a bad spot, good people could do not good things. So that was really, I mean, he's just such an outstanding guy. It was such an honor to have him. But, you know, we got an origin story this week, Doug. But to be honest with you, the origin story and my story, they're kind of like woven in. So
the Checked Out Podcast and Ryan's Pick of the Week.
New segment, guys. Very excited about this segment because, you know, we want to bring a little bit of like what we do and who we are into this. You know, we're grocers. We see the aisles every week. We see the items every week. We see all the new items come in, all the surveys, all the forms, and we see what people are buying. And we know what we like and why we like it. So I want to start sharing that with the audience a little bit. And just so you know, this is not a sponsored situation. This is not a sponsored situation. This is nobody's sending this to us to share. Literally, it's just what we want to share based on what we use. And the first one is very fitting because what got this all started to where we are now was the first truckload meat sale, obviously, really got it rolling. Then, you know, Doug said, hey, let's get this little thing rolling and let's see what we can do with this thing. Then my wife, Brandy, got a job with, and you know what? Each week I'm gonna unveil the paper bag, baby.
Wait. She works for the paper company?
Nope.
Oh.
I'm just gonna, for the theatrics of it, I'm going to withdraw the item of the week from the paper bag each week. And we have this week, boom, Hint water, Hint cherry blackberry water. And why is this fitting? Doug, do you remember the first giveaway we ever did? The big one. The first big one we ever did.
Yeti?
Bingo. Hint Yeti cooler. It was a Yeti cooler when Yeti coolers were crazy popular. And we had the Hint version of the Yeti cooler because they had a promotion. If we bought a pallet of Hint, we got a Yeti cooler to give away to the fans. So we were like, okay, how do we do this? And I just watched the video last night. It's like really wild. It's like Laura's sitting there with a Hint water. She hasn't moved for like 7 minutes, literally. And I'm like, hi everyone. We got a cooler here. It's a Yeti, and it wasn't even that funny. And we got Hint water. We're selling Hint water. If you like Hint water, we're selling Hint water here for like $10, like $1. I don't know, something like $1. But you know, buy some Hint water and you could win a cooler. Like it was literally like that. Like, you know, it was way before any of the craziness. But yeah, so I love this stuff, and the reason I love it is because, you know, like most people, I don't drink enough water. You know, I like coffee. I like a little beer. I like a little wine. And, but, you know, water's good to drink, but water gets boring. Just has a little bit of flavor. Just kicks it up a little bit. So that's my item of the week. I'm going to share one each week of items that I actually like. I like to drink or eat or whatever. And but yeah, this week is Hint Water from the brown bag, baby. And I just said it on the brown bag, if you heard that. So yeah, that's it. That's the first segment. It was a little choppy, but I think it went well.
You know, it's a good.
Tasted really good.
That's a good segment though, but I still like Ryan's blind bites. Let's
The
bring it back.
the blind bites is fun, and I'm not saying we can't do that, and we maybe can do that too. But I want to show a little bit of us every week, like what we like, what we drink, why we like it. You know, and for you retailers out there, again, I'm not sponsored by these guys. For retailer, you should be selling that stuff because you make good margin and people like it. They buy a lot of it. So
Isn't that wrong though? Yours is like a nice, healthy, water drink, nothing in it. Mine's more like Fear and Loathing of Las Vegas.
well, to be fair, I haven't seen Doug with a paper bag. Maybe next week was his turn.
Usually there's something in it though.
I'd say that's a gong hit. Boom. That's a gong hit. Well, here we go. The next amazing segment is stories from around the world, which I always love. And so this week, stories around the world are layoffs everywhere, except for at Sprankles. No layoffs at Sprankles, baby.
Unless I work that weekend.
Here's to you on that. Somehow, us and our amazing crew and amazing customers, we're not laying anybody off. But unfortunately, Amazon and some other big operators are laying off. And, the one thing I thought was funny when I was going through and seeing what people were doing out there, Amazon's laying off a bunch of people, right? The number one department that they're laying off is robotics. Like how does that work? You got the robots there. Sorry, boys.
Wait, they're clipping the mechanics?
They're the biggest thing is they're cutting back on robotics. So I don't know why. They're really going into detail. Just said they're laying off, and the biggest part of what they're laying off is the robotics unit. So either the robots are screwing up or the programmers are screwing up or somebody's screwing up because the robotics are not doing the same thing as the people. So for all you John Henry fans, we have a chance.
So maybe, but I gotta ask myself why. Maybe the Venice wedding was too expensive.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. What other dude could shut down the entire city of Venice?
Well, here's what's really exciting about that. Like when we go on vacation and do stuff, maybe one person recognizes, and mostly our mom. But when that guy, can you imagine being like, all right, guys, we're laying off 1.5 million people this week. But you know what? The wedding was killer.
I didn't think about the timing.
It's horrible.
That's crazy. Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Oh, it's crazy. I can see that right now. Yeah. Yeah, we get back from a family vacation. Whew, you know what, guys? Things just aren't working out around here. We're gonna have to do some cuts. I mean, we would be killed. This guy's lucky. He probably lives in a gated community with guys with Uzis at the gates.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some of those robots that he's laying off though. It could be like some kind of a weird sci-fi video, or
No. If we tried that, I'd be in the Kiski, you'd be in the Allegheny.
Yeah.
Cooked.
The other thing I thought that was interesting about this week, Doug, and this is crazy to me. Maybe you're more up on things than I am, but eBay acquired the Gen Z secondhand app Depop for $1.2 billion. I don't know when the last time I heard of somebody doing anything on eBay was. I mean, is eBay still such a situation? Obviously, it's a situation if they're buying a $1.2 billion company. I thought they were I haven't heard anything.
Well, think about this, though. That eBay has been around most of our lives.
Yeah.
Right? As far as our adult lives and late teenager lives. They've been making so much money for so long that it's almost like institutional, right? So their biggest thing now is that they do golden cards, the collectible trading. So it's still the number one place to get trading cards of to finish your set, coins, precious metals, things of that nature, parts for your car if you're into that. It's still the one-off store. It's the store, everybody's store, and it's so secure now, especially with PayPal, which they own PayPal. It's a big deal. So. I can see that, but when you see that, it's almost like when Facebook bought Instagram. You're like, Insta what? and then look at it now. Instagram is, the next gen's, picture sharing app of everything. So it'd be interesting to see what comes of that run. It'd be interesting to see what comes around and, be a part of it.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Well, here we go. Boom. This week in retail history with Doug.
I'm going to start off by know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to the gamblers hijack Biller's brand. So 1900s, I can see it now it's probably for magazines, but when pool tables first came out, it was a big deal to have a pool table. It was like the status symbol. You had your cognac, you had your little stogie, playing pool. That was the original image that Brunswick Corporation was really trying to push. And so when they started building these rooms, the idea was if you're a bar, it was kind of like the original entertainment venue. You'd put pool tables in, people would enjoy themselves, and they play pool and drink beer and eat food. It's supposed to be a high-class experience. But what ended up happening was guys like me and you got together, great-granddads out there, and we started to have horse betting rings in the pool room while drinking. So we weren't playing pool. We were betting on horses and having our pooled money and playing pool. And another thing is, this is before they had pockets. So, sometimes the ball would go flying across the room and smack Timmy in the teeth. I mean, it wasn't a great situation. So, they basically, this was happening. And so, in March 11, 1918, a man named Charles Wendt, now it might be German, we should ask Bill on this, but it's W-E-N-D-T, Wendt, filed for U.S. patent. He made the pocket. The pocket, the metal little chute. So when the ball goes into the pocket, it doesn't go halfway across the room and hit Uncle Tim. So it was the big deal, and because of the safety, and now it's part of it. He basically made it more usable for bars and less dangerous, and so people started playing pool. Because if you're think about it, you're there, and all of a sudden the ball comes flying across, and you're like, "Whoa!"
You got to be head on a swivel. They're drinking your cognac. I'm cognac's fan. I'm picturing a couple guys with natty ices. One bad shot away from having somebody by the throat against the wall, but maybe I just hung out in the wrong spots in college. But Wendt is the name, and the other reason I know that is because George Wendt is from Cheers. Norm. George Wendt. He was the famous guy, the actor that played on Cheers, and so I don't think this guy was related, but who knows? Maybe he was.
Well, it's a little teaser. So, we're going to talk about the trend or the flow of how pool tables started off as a very high class experience, and then in the 60s and 70s, it became the everyman's thing. Cheap beer, max amount of value, and now it's coming back around to that high end experience. We'll talk about it a little later on in the trends.
I'll tell you what, pool is such a big deal, and it still is. The young guys still have to play pool. But when I was in college, man, I felt like I was at the heyday of pool. I mean, you go into a college bar, there'd be, the bar I went to in Shippensburg University had, the Hot Point Inn, baby. It had 10 pool tables, all very nice pool tables. And people were playing like crazy, but there was no better thrill than winning a game and knowing that I don't have to pay the next 75 cents. There's just something to it, hey, you go ahead and pluck those quarters in there. I'm going to sit here and you break. There's nothing better. It was just a great experience.
Were you a 9-ball guy or 8-ball?
Oh, 8-ball.
Isn't it funny that 9-ball is less than 8-ball as far as amount of balls you use?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It is, but no, I was just straight up. The guys I was playing with, we're talking about guys that are, 5+ deep natty ice, and some of them threw a couple, chews of tobacco on top of that. So, they were just happy to be able to recognize the stripes from the solids, you know what I mean? So it was a
which plays right into Ryan's retail story of the week.
Here we are, my retail story of the week. And, it's kind of a mix of an origin story, but I feel like it's something that, people like to see. Where did you come from? Who did you know? here's where we came from. So, our dad was a salesman, as we've mentioned before. He was a salesman for a warehouse. He got to know, similar to Bob Appleby, our episode 13 guest, his dad was the same situation. They were selling for a warehouse. They were working with retailers every day. And all of a sudden, the retailer turns and says, hey, do you want to buy a store? I'll finance you. So that's how we got into it. At the time, we were living in Huntington, PA, which from Leechburg, our original location, is about a 2-hour 15 to 2-hour 30-minute drive up over mountains and through the woods and over the hills and through the snow and cross rivers and all kinds of stuff. But long haul. And Dad, he was so hardcore back in the day, man. I mean, this dude, I don't know if you remember, he went to bed at like midnight every night. He got up at like 4, and he somehow could function every single day like that. He was a machine. But the way it would go on breaks and when we were off on weekends, if you remember, you were a little younger. He didn't force you into service as much as me, but you still got a piece of it, even though you were 12. But the cadence was Saturday morning, and keep in mind, it was right off of Friday night. So normally I'd go out for party with my friends Friday night. Come in, who knows what time, 5 o'clock, Dad's like, time to get up for work. Okay, summers, weekends. Get up, get some coffee, get some breakfast, whatever, get in the car, leave at like 6, a little before 6, get to the store 8:30, work 8:30, doing whatever he wanted to do. Sometimes it was helping some guy roof. Sometimes it was helping an electrician. Sometimes it was learning meat. Sometimes it was grocery. Sometimes it was running registers, just whatever needed done. Till about 5:30. Then we'd leave, get home at 8 o'clock. Well, the thing about that, he was a machine. So he didn't look at the fact that we were done and it was the end of the day. He's like, oh, we're home. What are we going to do tonight? So, he organized like a fishing trip on Lake Racetown. Get a boat, play some music, drink some beer, cast a couple lines till like 11 or 12. Get home at 12:30. Freaking guys, dun, 5 a.m. Time to go back to work. Like, wow. I mean, after even at my, that 21, whatever, 18 range, I mean, after about 3 days with that, you felt like you just went on tour with Aerosmith. I mean, I need a couple of days off to get over my couple of days off from school. Like most kids when we went back to college, you're like, oh, I can't believe we're back. I'm like, hey, baby, it's good to be back. That was my break. But yeah, so I mean, that was the day. That was the day. And Dad, he worked like that his whole life. And that's why he was able to do what he's able to do, because he worked like a machine like that forever. But, it stands out because that's how it started. And then finally, we got, a house over here and we moved over here. But I mean, it was like the first 2 or 3 years, that was it. So, you'd end up with, I mean, think about that. What's that, 13 or 14-hour days? 5 straight days. And then, like I said, he always had an evening activity. Like, who has an evening activity built into that schedule?
Well, it's funny you say that. Remember how the name of the boat was? Well, he named his first boat.
The one that we always got stuck in the middle of the lake and people had to tow us?
Yes.
I forget the name of it.
It's from Gilligan's Isle. The SS Minnow.
That's so fitting. I forgot the name of the damn boat. I just remember, Dad, we didn't have a lot of money, until he got more established. So he just, as soon as he could buy a boat, he bought a boat. And that baby couldn't run it. He didn't know how to fix it. So, I can remember how many embarrassing times when people were towing us across the lake.
It's ironic. My story also includes the later boat, the cabin cruiser. No, but also, do you remember the rule of the boat?
No.
It was the best ever. So I was a little older, and it was just me. Ironically, Uncle Tim.
Yeah.
As Uncle Tim, Dad, and me.
Uncle Tim was a part of a lot of this fishing trip.
Oh, yeah. He was the best fisherman in the
group.
He
was very good.
Yeah, he's really good.
He knew his stuff.
So anyway, so we're there, and all of a sudden, like, I'm holding a bag of, like, beef jerky. For some reason, beef jerky and boating goes well together. I don't know. So I'm holding a bag of beef jerky. And in the white bag, and then Dad, he pulls up the anchor thing and all the ropes, and Uncle Tim's over there getting the fishing rods ready. So we start, going out to the middle of the lake, and Uncle Tim goes, "Hey, brother, where's the beer?" And Dad looks around, and it's like a man that lost his keys.
Yeah.
He's like, "Wait, you didn't get the beer?" He's like, no, I didn't get the beer. And all of a sudden he's like, oh. He's like, Dougie, you got the beer? I'm like, no, I don't have the beer. I'm the jerky guy. And he's like, so Dad's like, all right, we're going back. They canceled the fishing trip. Literally, if they didn't have beer, they wouldn't go fishing.
You know what? What did he call that?
Party killer.
The party killer. Party killer. So yeah, if he ran out of beer, I forgot about that. If he ran out of beer, man, it could be after he could have just casted out 15 lines and everybody's settled it. No, I mean that boat is going to dock.
Done.
It's done.
Yeah.
Party's over.
I remember.
Oh my God. I forgot about that.
And
That's hilarious.
Like, if you guys are familiar with Racetown Lake, we 7 Points Marina we launched from. We went the whole way to almost like where the resort is in that one cove that goes back forever.
Oh, yeah.
And we were back there and it was probably a good hour ride.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, turn around. We're turning around.
That's what I love about Dad, man. I mean, he was like this whole way through his career. He never thought about it. Failure never crossed his mind, which enabled him to succeed. But at the same time, like you and I would think of these things. I think, you know, especially you're more the thinking guy when it comes to that. But like, he didn't think about like, hey, this boat's broke down 5 of the last 7 journeys. But you know what? I'm going to go to the furthest inlet away from humanity. Like, because that's where all he cared about, that's where the fish were. So like, he didn't think about anything else other than that's where the fish are. We're going to go there. And it's funny when you think about how he ran the stores, you know, we're going to run this in the ad. I don't care if, you know, I don't care if 2 meat cutters just retired and another one, you know, just went on vacation. We're running T-bones at $3.99 a pound because, well, that's what's going to bring people in the door. He didn't think about how you're going to cut them.
That's when he was older. Before that was chip steak. We're going to do chip steak. we're gonna put that thing through the machine. Then you got to clean the machine.
It's funny that that's how he ran it, and I mean it was successful. He ended up being fine, but it's just the mindset was just wild. Just went hard, man. It just goes hard at it. Genuine PA Skill Games, powered by Pacematic and supported by PA Skill Alliance, are dedicated to fostering growth throughout the Commonwealth. These games have been instrumental in supporting local fraternal orders, fire companies, bars, and retailers by keeping businesses operational, maintaining employment, and funding community projects. With over 5,000 communities across Pennsylvania, it's highly probable that genuine PA Skill Games are working hard behind the scenes in your area. They ensure the vitality of our main streets, restaurants, bars, and stores. By supporting PASkillAlliance.org, you are investing time in your community, employing your neighbors, and contributing to local nonprofits. Together, we can help keep Main Street open for business. It's time for Doug's Retail Trends of the Week.
Well, we're going to talk about pool tables because, you know, why not? And, you know, we like, you know, obviously small restaurants and bars. So, like, and we just saw this, actually, ironically, at the Bullpen in Tyrone. They used to have a big back pool table area. It's all you do is play pool. Now it's a meeting area, right? Which plays right in. So as we know in grocery business, we can't survive off milk and eggs, right? We can't just sell enough milk and eggs to pay the bills. You gotta adapt. You gotta change. You gotta offer more and be that inclusive experience. So you know the years of packed pool table rooms are gone. But what they're doing now is doing these hybrid, like high-end food, drinks, making an experience. They have now. Remember, like when you go bowling, you have like the digital screen.
Oh yeah,
like you know, it tells you. Because I mean, I can't keep score. Do you know what a turkey is?
It's three strikes in a row. I didn't know that.
Wow.
But I still don't know how many points that is, and I don't understand how many other shots you get because of that.
And on the strikes, yeah, we need to get Mike, the meat man, on the show.
Yeah,
him and his wife, phenomenal. But anyway. So it does now digital smart pool, like so you can't cheat anymore. They have the pool like tracking, so it keeps track of that. They now have pool tables that aren't as big that you can put like real tables on. So if you're having a big party, you can swap the space. So the new pool rooms we're seeing is basically taking that same area but making it not just a pool room but flex space, you know, entertainment avenue, food to go with it, upping your game, upping your offerings. As our boy Shane once said, providing value. You got to provide value. So it's a great trend we're seeing, and so we're now seeing pool tables, the history. You see high-end to, every guy's kind of thing, cheap beer, wing deals, that kind of stuff, back to the high-end, full explosive experience. It's a really cool trend. I can't wait to see what happens to it. But it's getting people going back to the local restaurants.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. I'm so glad you're talking about pool. I love pool. I feel like playing some pool right now, just putting back a couple, listening to some, just listening to some tunes and just playing some pool with friends. But this is a quick side story. Did I ever tell you about the story about me with the two Marines?
No.
This was 2004, circa 2004. And, when I was playing pool most of the time in bars, I'm not a huge bar guy, but like when I would go to bars in college, like I was never a lone wolf. I mean, I always had, 3, 4 guys with me most of the time at all times. We never got hardly into any trouble. Sometimes bouncer would throw Dave out head first into the parking lot. But, other than those couple skirmishes with the law, so to speak, I always made sure I went with groups. Well, this was like 2004. We're in Altoona, PA, in the middle of the mountains. We're at this bar inside of a motel. It was a little bit of a, it was a good crowd, but at the same time, it's one of those spots, you're going in. And in this instance, I was with Bran and a couple of her friends and a couple of their acquaintances, boyfriends, whatever. No one, I was like lone wolf. I was just going in, and it was an awkward situation. They're all talking, whatever, and I'm just like, nobody was playing pool from the group. And I'm just like, So I'm like, hey guys, I'm going to venture over and play a game of pool. Oh yeah, okay. So I find this guy, hey, you want to be my partner? Sure. We start playing pool. We're winning. We're doing good. I was a pretty good pool player back in the day. And so we're winning, doing good. All of a sudden, these two shorter guys, husky guys, they put their quarters up. They play us, whatever. We come down to, they're pretty decent. Come down to the last. I had to kind of set up a shot. I couldn't finish it off. They missed. Comes down to my guy. My guy's got a straightaway side shot. I mean, this is like 85% make rate. He's lining it up. I'm having a drink. I'm kind of getting ready for the next game. And all of a sudden, one of these Marines go by, bump my man. They bump my man as he's shooting. He misses. I'm like, I'm kind of waiting to see if just kidding, go ahead and shoot again. I'm waiting for that, No, doesn't happen. There's an awkward pause. My guy's, he's not willing to speak up. I'm like, hey, what's happening? I said, what was that all about? Literally, I didn't get the sentence out. Like, almost like, you see fast forward videos of like, they're like, they go from that side of the table to here, like right away. One of them has me by the throat up against the wall. The other one has my arm pinned back. I'm pinned against the wall. They're looking at me, and all of a sudden it hit me. These dudes aren't just drinking a couple of natural lights. I mean, their eyes, I've never seen eyes like that. Whatever they were ingesting, their eyes were just like rolling around in their head. And I wasn't me. I was some dude that had done some bad stuff to them in Afghanistan or something. I mean, they just gotten out of I found this out later. They just got out of the military.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, they're all whacked out. They just got out of the military. I mean, we heard 72 hours, from our last guest, we heard what, within 72 hours of watching crazy stuff, these guys are just out on the street. These guys have just gotten out. So they have me pinned up and they're like threatening to do things that I'd never even knew you could do to a person. and meanwhile, I had no backup. Thankfully, sometimes you just are. Thankfully, these two just bruiser dudes ripped these guys off. And I'll never forget, it was a rougher place. They drugged them across the floor of this place, drugged them. These were big dudes. I mean, this place was rough, so they obviously had ample security.
Right.
These guys literally opened the door and whipped them into the parking lot. And so I said, Brand comes over. I'm like choking and stuff. I mean, it hurt for like 5 days. I mean, this guy had my neck. I mean, I don't get into situations like that. And so the dude was there, and he's like, end of the night, I come over, and I'm like, Brandon's like, oh, let's go, let's leave. I'm like, whoa, I've watched enough John Wayne movies to know.
You don't go out the front.
You don't go out the front after something like that happens. These guys are waiting for me in the park. They're not waiting for you. Let's go. I'm like, sir, I don't know if you remember, I'm the guy I had by the neck against the wall threatening to do unspeakable acts to about an hour and a half ago. Well, would you mind escorting us to our car? Oh, yeah, no problem. Go outside. Two little Marines waiting for me.
Ambush tactics.
Thankfully, they sent me to my car and the car started. We got away with no problems, but I did think I had like a collapsed esophagus or something.
Wasn't this the Comfort Inn in Altoona?
It might have been. I
don't think
it was
that's
like
I don't think it's a rough bar.
I'll tell you what, when you come out of after you come out of it with your esophagus getting thrown out and guys telling you they're going to do stuff to you never knew existed, you're going to think a little different of that place. And it was rough.
So when Ryan tells a story, so everybody understands this, his wedding song that was played 15 times was "Friends in Low Places." I got friends in low places where the whiskey. Yeah.
Well, that night I was in low places, but I didn't have no friends.
Oh.
There was not a friend to be had.
No.
And if it wouldn't have been for those two bouncers who, if you're watching or your kids or your grandkids are watching, I really appreciate the use of my throat. So
You still here talking?
yeah, that was a pull story off of a story, but
Well, do you remember my first job?
you never forget that.
My first industry?
Oh yeah, you were a bouncer.
No. This is before that. I had my first like business.
I thought the bouncer was your first gig.
No, that was later.
I don't remember.
The coin guy.
Oh, you were the coin guy.
Right. So,
yes.
So I
do remember.
When first time I got into silver and coin, all that stuff, I was buying, basically they call it U.S. silver, which is pre-1964 and pre-silver coins, quarters, nickels, dimes.
Yeah, I remember you were always talking about Morgan.
Right. Oh, yeah. The Morgan dollar.
Hey, whatever. Yeah. You're always talking about this Morgan stuff.
You know what got me started? I was in an Apollo, right? I was working in Apollo, and I was there, and this guy brought in 14 Morgan dollars. And I thought it was cool because I thought it was like an old dollar thing. And here, back then, they were worth $8 each. And I gave him $1 because I didn't know what the value was. And I realized that there was a market for buying silver, buying coins, and reselling them to other people that are collectors. So for over one summer, I basically made like 30 grand over a summer, right? And so I'd always celebrate. And so I had a guy that buy the big bulk, but I'd always celebrate because it'd be great. So my side hustle was mom and dad had the bigger boat at this point. You were already gone. They had a bigger boat. It had like a bathroom. It had all this cool stuff, had music, air conditioner, and I was still living at home. So I'd go there and party. I found out later though, the neighbor was narking on me, telling like mom and dad I'd go there. So one day it was the end of summer. I got all my buddies together, got a few Fraulines, and we went to the boat, right? And so I'm walking with my case of beer. They're walking with stuff. We're going to play cards, have a great time. I walk up to the boat, and it's half sunk. It's like nose up, sinking. And I'm like, oh. So then it goes through my mind. I'm like, wait a minute. If I call and tell them the boat is sinking, not only they know why am I at the boat in the middle of the night, second question is going to be, wait, why are you at the boat in the middle of the night? The second question is going to be like, how do you know it's sinking if you're not down there when you shouldn't be? Because, it's our boat, not your boat. And I'm like, So my boys are like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, I'm going to think about it. And as soon as I said think about it, I look back and everybody's gone.
So they rolled on you.
They rolled. Oh, I mean, you knew I was hanging out with. Questionable.
True. Yeah. And that guy that called you out, he was that former state cop or whatever.
No, it wasn't that guy.
It wasn't the investigating guy that stroked out?
No, it was the guy with the big yacht. It was the yacht guy.
Yeah, don't buy electric off a guy with a yacht.
So the yacht guy was, I found out later he was narking me out. So I'm there and I'm like, oh man, I can't let the boat sink. Well,
no, you can't let the boat sink.
So I jump on the boat, and mind you, I jump on the boat and I'm already in a foot of water. Like, I mean, it's sinking. So I'm like, maybe the plug's out. So I jump in the back, I swim down, I fill the plugs in the hole. So like every boat, so people that don't know boats, when you pull a boat out of the water, there's a plug in the back that you got to make sure it's in, and then you pull it out when you pull it out of the water, so it drains out when you pull it out with the trailer. So the plug's in, we're good there. I'm like, okay, maybe if I start up and turn the bilge pump, for those you don't know, is in a boat, you hit the bilge pump and it basically pumps out the water that gets into the boat just through seams and everything else. And, you know, when you're running, and then there's another blower thing which does the gas when you're running the motor. Anyway, so I try to turn it on, it won't turn on. The battery's dead. I'm like, oh, man. So I'm like, you know what, maybe I'll just pail this thing out. I'll start paling out. So I found the tackle bucket thing that Dad used for like his minnows, and I started paling it out. And as soon as I pail it out, it gets deeper. Like it gets deeper. And I'm like, I'm cooked. I just lost my party spot. Mom, hey, it's Doug. Oh my God, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Everything all right? Yeah, Mom, I'm fine. What's going on? Why aren't you downstairs? I'm like, well, I'm at the boat and it's sinking. And she was like, wait, what? Why is it sinking? Wait, why are you at the boat? And I'm like, oh, you know, I was just in the neighborhood. I just want to make sure it was all right. So I just checked on it. And she's like, uh-huh. But wait, why is the boat sinking? And so literally Mom and Dad came down. We had to like do something with like the jump start, the key, got the boat running, pumped out the water. But ironically, when Dad sold it a couple years later to Uncle Jim's buddy, it sunk. Cooked.
That's right.
It sunk.
It did sink.
Yeah.
And you know what? Now I think about it, Brandy, my wife, thought of the title of the podcast, Checked Out Retail Stories Podcast. If I remember right, that boat was nicknamed Checked Out.
Exactly. Full circle today, guys.
Make sure you like, share, subscribe, tell your friends so we don't sink.
And as always, guys, thank you so much. What a great show. We can't do it without you. And our friends at PA Skill Alliance, thank you so much. Make sure you guys check them out, paskillalliance.org.
Thanks for all the support.
Can't do it without you. Come and see us. Yeah, we'll let that cook a little bit.
So you're not challenging?
No.
I don't know if that's allowed. I think in the NFL, once they throw that red flag on the ground, I think they're
Oh no,
they lose a timeout no matter what.
I had it out of the belt, but I didn't throw it. I had it out of the belt, but I didn't throw it. So
Well, here we go then. This is my inaugural time. In fact, you know what? I want you to introduce me on this because this is my first time doing this.
Ryan's retail stories from around the world. That's the next part.
I'll announce myself.
For what?
That's fine.
No, what is it though?
Ryan's Check Out Pick of the Week.